Y'all, so here's the thing. I have been just massively bored with everything. Not just with Coach, because I've been bored with him too. I just feel like it's just more of the same. There's nothing really interesting coming out. I don't have much to say about the bag, so I don't really know what to post anymore. I don't feel like anything else about my life is going to be interesting to anybody. So I just stopped posting and I stopped caring. And that's where I've been. And when I check in on TikTok or on the Coach Gone Rogue group to see how everybody's feeling, it just seems like everybody is still interested in talking about everything that's coming out and buying up everything. And I just have not been pressed. I haven't been interested. I haven't even been going on to the retail websites or anything. I've just been kind of chilling. And I think this happened last fall too, because usually this is the time of the year where everybody's shopping more. But for me, it's always been the time where I shopped less. I don't know why my interest just falls off around this time of year. And now, especially with everything going on in the government and things like that, and people going without paychecks and whatever, I feel like I need to be a little bit more cognizant of what I'm spending on. And this has been happening my whole life. Around the holidays, I remember my grandmother, she always cooked Easter dinner and Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner and things like that. But every time she would cook these big old meals for her family, she always made 2, 3, 4, 5 extra plates, and she would pass them around to homeless people, like people who have drug addiction, things like that in our neighborhood. And there was always this one guy. I remember we lived in a pretty bad neighborhood, and there was always this one guy. His name was Al, and he was heavily addicted to drugs. He was on the streets and everything like that for the entirety of the time we lived in that neighborhood. We moved out of the neighborhood, my mom and I, but my grandma was still there for a while. And if she didn't see him outside on Christmas, if she didn't see him on site, she would get in her car and drive around the neighborhood looking for him to make sure he got his plates. And it would always be a plate of dessert, it would be a plate of whatever dinner she cooked. And now, as an adult, I have been doing the same thing, I've noticed. Especially now that I'm married and my husband is in the military, I see that military families, they go through food insecurity even without government shutdown. This is very prevalent. There's a lot of military families who depend on WIC, who depend on SNAP, and go to food pantries on a regular basis without the government shutdown. So I can imagine. I remember a couple years ago when we were still in Washington, I started sending plates with my husband because my husband is the safe space. He gets it from his dad. He's very, as much as he claims to hate it, he just has that vibe where he's a safe space to talk about whatever you're going through. So now that he's in the military and he's been in leadership positions for a while now, he still has that kind of vibe to the younger soldiers. And you never know what people are going through. In the military, around this time of year specifically, there's a lot of unaliving of people's selves. So my husband having these counselor, safe space kinds of vibes for the younger soldiers and being in the leadership type of positions that he's been in, we hear all kinds of different stories. There's soldiers who can't afford to travel home for the holidays for multiple years in a row, and they get really lonely. Soldiers who don't have families. They don't have a wife and kids of their own. Maybe they don't have parents. You know what I mean? They're just in the world by themselves. You don't know what people are going through and being in a tough financial position on top of that. So I remember I would send plates. I cook and bake a lot around this time of the year. That's usually why I disappear, because I make my house really cozy. It's soup season right now. So far, I've made chicken and dumplings for the first time, and I've made a big pot of chili yesterday. And during the holidays, I'm cooking. I'm the one doing the big meals now, even though we only have a family of 3. And because we only have a family of 3, I send plates of things with my husband. I send apple pies. I send dozens of cinnamon rolls with him to take to work, to the soldiers who probably are stuck working over the holidays and they can't go to their family. You never know what those little things will do for people. So around this time, I do just pull back because you never know who you might see struggling at the grocery store to buy things to eat or to do whatever. This $400 I might spend on a handbag, I could give $100 to 4 different families, and that can go a long way. You know, that's where I'm going. And even with buying groceries, since I do tend to send food items and home cooked meals and stuff during the holidays with my husband to take to work. We didn't do it last year. We might end up doing it this year. We have to see. He's been telling me different stories of things that are going on with his younger soldiers and people who are coming to him with different concerns. So I like to just keep in mind that there are other people in the world that may need the help. And I'm lucky that Coach has been pretty boring. Retail period, I haven't been in the mood to shop at all. And it's usually like this for me during the holidays, but it's not just with the government shutdown, but this happens every year. You never know what people are going through in their lives. So I just like to keep resources available if we have it to help other people. Like my husband already says, I'm keeping this amount in my account because the soldiers that he was trying to prep for this situation that's happening right now, they didn't exactly heed his advice. So he's trying to prepare for helping people buy groceries, helping people with whatever they may need, personal items, even a new pair of boots, things like that. So that's where I am. I'm happy things have been boring, but I haven't been knowing what to really post on my channel. And the longer I go without posting, I think it's been about a month, right? The longer I go without posting, I'm so sorry. I have to see if you can hear my dishwasher. Hold on. So that's where I've been. So it's soup season. I also have been trying to get back into my baking spirit. I think sometimes I don't get seasonal depression, but I have been struggling a lot with my happiness this year. And I know it's been a lot of death in my circle or my surroundings or whatever. But I don't know, there's more to it than that. I don't know why. I've just been really struggling to be happy. So I've been trying to find different things and immerse myself in different things. And during the fall and winter, it's always cooking. I cook way more because it's cooler outside. It's finally getting cooler here in Texas. So I'm okay with having the stove going and the oven going all day or whatever. So I've been getting back into it. Soup season, I told you guys I made chicken and dumplings on Saturday. It did not last. I've been trying to make meals that'll last a few days, but it's not lasting a few days. That lasted until the nighttime. I have trouble with my toddler eating, but he was smashing on that chicken and dumplings. And I've never had it before. None of us in the household has ever had that before. And it was the first time I made it and it was really good. And I don't even know if that's how it's supposed to taste, but it came out really good. So that was very comforting and everything. And then last night I made a big pot of chili. And also I finally started my sourdough starter. I usually have a sourdough starter because I usually make bread for our own house. But the last year that we've been here, I've just been focused on just being settled here. And it's been so much ripping and running with the military that I just had to stay alive being here by myself more often with the toddler. So I didn't really get back into it. So finally this fall, this is my sourdough starter and named her Rihanna after Rihanna. And I started her I can't believe I just did that. I started my sourdough starter on November 1st. So yeah, I'm going to feed her again today. I probably won't be baking again for I don't know, maybe next week. I will see. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, cooking, baking. My husband's on a no sugar diet right now, so I haven't been making any desserts or anything like that, but I'm just enjoying soup season. Another thing, I could make a whole video about this if you guys want. I've been a reader my entire life, but since I became a mom, I haven't been reading at all. Been a mom for 3 years now. And I read my entire pregnancy and I bought books. I always just kept buying the books and I would get rid of them. I would read ebooks on my iPad and things like that. I was the girl who, if I had a free day, I would be at Barnes and Noble. I remember in high school, my friends and I, our favorite pastime was going to the library together. We would share books and talk about books all the time. So it was kind of sad that after I became a mom, I just let go of everything. I wasn't gaming anymore. I wasn't reading anymore. I think I was reading during the newborn stage when he was sleeping a lot more. I was reading a lot on my iPad, but I couldn't really read of my physical books because he would up and tear my pages and things like that. So I have a lot of physical books that are in my house that I bought 3+ years ago that I just haven't read. So I started with this book. This is called My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is one of the books that I bought way back either when I first gave birth or maybe when I was pregnant and still buying books. I finally got around to it and I didn't like it. I was so excited. I was like, I always knew that this would be the first book I picked back up, fiction-wise, because I have been reading. I just haven't read books that I was super interested in, and they were mainly nonfiction during this time that I haven't been reading. So this was my first fiction book. And 250 pages in, I was just super annoyed by the story and by the main character herself. And I was just like, I don't think I would be able to survive that friendship with this person. And it's weird because usually when you're reading books from the victim perspective, you kind of feel for the victim and you like, it breaks your heart. And even up here it says timely, riveting, and heartbreaking. That heartbreak I felt for her left. And I felt like all of her friends felt the same way because it seems like she did not have any surviving friendships through this. At least anybody who knew about what she went through. And by 250 pages in, I was just sick of it. So it was okay. I think I gave that book like 3 stars, but that was just like my personal opinion. It just felt like it was dragging. So after that, I ended up not reading any more physical books, and I'll get back into it. I could do a whole list of videos about reading if you guys are interested, but I know this is more of a handbag channel and there's nothing really I could talk about. So what I did was I bought a Kindle. And I have been buying Kindles ever since Kindles were made. So I was probably a year or so after I graduated high school that I bought my first Kindle. Every single Kindle except for one, I kept returning. The one that I didn't return was the very first Kindle Fire that ever came out. That was my first Kindle that I actually used and read on. That was the only one that ever worked for me. And everyone always suggested the Kindle Paperwhite. And this is the Kindle Paperwhite signature. These are my decorations on the back. I've ordered a Kindle Paperwhite 3 times. This is the signature, 32 gigabytes. Right now I have a ton of books on here and I have a couple of audiobooks on here as well. Every single Kindle Paperwhite I ordered, I returned. I returned Kindle over and over and over again, except for my Kindle Fire. And even that one was a bit disappointing because after 2 years, I felt like it was unusable in any other realm. I was able to read, but I wasn't able to do anything else like watch YouTube or browse the internet. I couldn't do anything else but read on it. And so that became disappointing. And then I ended up switching to iPad. And that's what I've been using up until now because back in January, my son smashed my iPad to bits and it still worked. I told the story before. The following day, he threw it into the bathtub. The water seeped through the cracks and it's no more. It was in perfect condition. I had that for 5 years and it was still going strong, no complaints. And I was so upset that that's how it ended. And I haven't purchased another one because those are pricey. It was the iPad 11 Pro. I just can't bring myself to buy it again, even though it was a really good product. But Kindle Paperwhite has always been recommended to me. And I just rolled my eyes because I'm like, I know, I like to read. And of course, I tried the Kindle Paperwhite and I've ordered at least 3 or 4 of them over the years. And they never worked for me. And when I say it never worked, I would turn it on and it'll just keep flashing black and white. If I turn this one on, it just pops up, right? This is what I like to see. I've never experienced that. You saw how I had that black flash? It'll just keep doing that black flash over and over and over and over and over again. Every single one that I bought. So they always returned. There was one, the last one that I bought, it didn't do that and it did load up. But whenever I would click on a book, this is what I'm reading right now. When I clicked on a book, it would never open. This one, it just pops up and I can read right away. So that's where my mind has been. I have been reading a whole lot and I realized how much I missed it. It's really nice to get immersed in a different world to where you can see different perspectives and experience new things through your books. And I was talking to you guys about how I went to massage therapy and how I started to feel really bad about myself, about how much pain that I had been living with for so many years and nobody being able to really feel what I've been feeling and how my mood and things. That's how I felt like when I started reading again. I was like, wow, I've really missed reading. And I've been reading so much. I think I started reading this book middle of October, and by the end of October, I had already read 3 books in full. And now it's November and I'm already almost done. Today's November 4th and I'm almost done with my first book of 400 pages. So I've been really loving it and I have a lot to say about it. But yeah, as far as the bags go, like I've been bored with Coach. I've been bored with every brand. I did go to Dillard's the other day and like see in person the things. And I've been really just into a couple of bags in my collection. And I asked a question on TikTok of how often people change their bags. So I noticed like 2 week kind of girl for the most part. And I was kind of surprised, okay? Also like super surprised at the amount of answers that I got that people change their bags multiple times a day or every single day. And I was like, dude, I don't really have a life like that. I don't really have a life like that to where I'm like this and I need one bag for this for a couple of hours. Then I'm changing because I'm doing this for another couple hours. And then I don't have a life like that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times, especially during fall, winter, I'm really in the house a lot. And especially when it's cold, like I refuse to go outside. And I kind of use my bags until I'm sick of them. I don't really change based on my outfit. You know what I mean? And I have been doing that this past like month or so. I think ever since I got those answers, I was like, okay, let me do it more. Over the summer, I was doing it a lot. I was like changing my bags and I was out more, you know, I was doing a lot. So I was changing my bags quite a lot. But now I've realized I've just been living in the same bags and just loving it too. Like I've been ignoring the rest of my collection. And honestly, I've been bored with my collection also. Look at this. I think maybe the last time I filmed a video, I was talking about this. It has everything in there still. I wore this bag out for the first time when I went to my very first massage therapy appointment. And when I asked that question on TikTok, guess where I was going? To another massage therapy appointment. That was 2 weeks later and I was still in the same bag. That's how I knew. I was like, I've been in there for 2 weeks. My husband volunteered to do this family event and my son and I had to go. And that was the only time I changed out of this bag and I changed into my quilted tabby backpack. My Kindle fit in there and I was like using my Kindle a lot during that event. I would just sit in the car or whatever. It was a trunk or treat event where we were passing out candy. So I would take my son around trick or treating or whatever, do that. But on the car ride there, car ride back, and while they were setting up and decorating the car, I was reading my Kindle. And I used my quilted tabby backpack just for that day. And then I came home, I dumped everything back into this bag and I wore it again. And the next day I went to my massage therapy appointment. So now it's been about a month that I've been in this bag and I haven't worn anything else aside from my quilted tabby backpack. And the other bag that I want to use is my swing zip again. So I finished conditioning this one a couple of days ago and it looks brand new now. It's not all scuffed up and crazy and the leather actually feels really supple. I would say it probably feels at the level it was when it arrived to me when I first bought it, or maybe even better. And I've been really into this bag and it's crazy that I was thinking about selling it. I don't know why I only gravitate towards it during the fall, winter season. But I went to Dillard's and I saw the light blue one and I'm kind of interested in that one. I feel like I want the light blue one to be more on the bluebell side and not just light blue. But that's on sale right now for $197. So I'm considering that. That would be really cute for this spring. And then I also wore this one for one day. I wore this when I went to Dillard's actually. And I was just looking at all the bags, whatever. They had the maple one in person. And the maple one looks way more beautiful in person. I almost bought it that day, but just like, dude, you have a lot of brown. You don't really need it. So that's the reason why I haven't bought another one. But I wore this one that day, just for that day. If you're wondering, yes, my Kindle signature does fit in that one too. It does. So that's been really great. The Kindle also fits in the swing zip perfectly. And you still have plenty of room. So those have been 3 bags that I've been wearing, or 4 if you count my quilted tabby backpack. Other than that, I just haven't been thinking about bags. I haven't been browsing the websites. I haven't been interested. I have been just baking, cooking, reading, and just keeping my ears open for people who may need help with things this holiday season. I think it's kind of crazy that people are still booking the trips and traveling for leisure purposes when there's a lot of people who aren't getting paid right now. I just think, this is my personal opinion, I just think people should just sit down for a minute. I just think it should just sit down for a second. But it's not up to me to decide, right? It's really not. But just keeping my eyes peeled for people who may need help in this time. I'm trying to make sure that we're not going to be needing help in this time because he's in the military. So that's where it's been. Just cozy living, curled up with a book. I read outside on my balcony when it's not too cold. Really just immersing myself in new things. I just wanted to do this catch-up video. I think that's all. I've been just really wrapped up in my swing zip, wrapped up in my Speedy 30. I could just live in those two for this whole season. I'm not exactly at the point where I want to sell everything, but just right now, fall, winter, I don't want to regret anything because the sun's going to come out and it's going to be hot and I'm going to be out and about again. But I'm not at a point where I'm ready to sell everything. So I might regret doing that. But really, just 4 or 5 bags right now, I can just live in them forever for the fall. And these colder months, I'm just so content. Just taking care of myself. I have another massage therapy for November 15th. I've been able to move my arms around. I've been able to turn my head from side to side. I've been doing good. I hope the same for all of you guys. Yeah, that's it for the catch-up video. Hopefully I will make more videos. It feels good talking to the camera when I go months or weeks without posting, but I just don't always have anything to say about the bags. I really don't, especially right now. I just haven't been too interested in it. But yeah, talk to you later. Bye.